Imagine you're playing in the bridge brawl and declaring this 5 spades doubled contract. North leads the Queen of Hearts, which you duck in dummy, and you ruff with your hand. You then draw trumps, which North ducks, and then you play out the King of Diamonds, which South wins. Now South returns a diamond, to which North covers with the Queen, and you ruff it. Plan your play. So this was from a hand from one of the bridge brawl matches that I was commentating, and I thought I saw this declarer make a mistake. Let's see if you can spot the mistake. So what this declarer did was to ruff a heart and then cash a diamond, pitching the heart, and then played out the Queen of Clubs, and when the 10 of Clubs dropped, declarer made their 5 6 double contract. Now, what is wrong with this play? Let's have a look. So if this were the hand, then declarer would have played the Queen of Clubs out, and after that, when declarer cashes the Jack of Clubs, the 10 wouldn't drop and declarer will go down. On the other hand, if declarer just played a small club out, playing for king double turn with the north hand, declarer would have made. So how could declarer have avoided this guess? So during the live stream, some viewers actually pointed out that there was no real end play, because let's say, look, if you finesse the clubs here and then end play north, well, north can just give a ruff and discard. In this case, the king would fall, but you wouldn't know that as declarer, right? Like, do you play the queen out, hoping to pin the 10, or do you play a small card out, hoping that the king was double turn? So here's my solution. What I'm proposing is that declarer finesses the club straight away. And you do this by playing the small out, because, you know, maybe north has king singleton, right? And the reason you do this is because no matter what, you need the king to be on side. I mean, of course, it could be singleton king with south, and then, well, there's still an end play, right? Even if singleton king with south. But I mean, who plays that way? So you should be trying to finesse north, which fortunately works. So you still have a chance of making a contract. And now you play the King of Hearts out, ruffing in the west hand. And then you catch the Jack of Diamonds. And at this point, what does North do? North can ruff with the ace, in which case you pitch a club and North is end played. Or North could, you know, like pitch something like heart and you pitch a club and then you exit the spade to the North hand and North is end played. North will either return a club or return a heart, in which case you can pitch a club in the east hand and ruff it in the west hand, and your east hand is now good. Note that the order of this play has to be really precise, because look what happens if you don't do the club finesse first. Let's say you don't take the club finesse first. Let's say you just play a diamond out first. Now, North can actually ruff it, and what can you do? Okay, like you can pitch a club. And okay, yeah, you pitch a club, but now North can just return a heart, which doesn't give you a ruff and discard. And then you'll have to guess how to play the clubs. In this case, it'll be right to play the queen out, and then pin south for the 8-7 double turn, but that would be a guess. So you actually have to be really, really careful here. And the reason the order is so important is because you don't know for a fact that North cannot ruff the diamond, which in this case North can, right? I mean, most of the time maybe North can't, but in this particular case, unlucky, but yes, North could ruff with the ace and for your plan. So actually, you really have to finesse the club immediately and play the heart, which from the auction, you know that North has hearts, so North can't ruff it, and you also know that North is the only one with the ace of spades. So it's actually very important to take the finesse, which you have to do anyway, right? And then ruff the king before you play the jack. And then that way, there's no way that declarer can foil your plan. The other thing to note here is that North might have made a mistake by ducking the ace of spades. I mean, here in this case, there's no real hope of making a contract. I guess technically there is still a club guess. Like the character has to decide how to play the club suit. In this case, almost everything they do is right, except for playing the queen and then crossing back to the west hand and then playing the 9 out. Everything else works, right? Which most of the time people don't play this way. But that said, North doesn't really have a lot to hope for in terms of like ducking the spade. Like, what is North trying to achieve? And just side note, the East-West pair here plays 2 spades as 4 plus spades. So, I mean, even if West only at 4 spades, right? Like, there's no way that they're getting the spade suit wrong. So, there's no real point in ducking it. Like, they're never playing the 10 here, right? Like, they could play the king and then they can bash an on out, they can play low, everything will work. Or they can cross over by ruffing another heart and then playing another spade up. And yeah, just basically everything works. So, I don't see the real point in ducking the ace of spades, except maybe to see partners signal at some point, I guess. But this just feels like it's asking to get end play at some point. So Yeah, maybe slight error by North there. I mean, in the end, the club pips are really bad for the defense. But like, you never know when you're going to meet a declarer who plays the queen first and then the knight. Yeah, I thought this hand was a really fun one because like, I got to see how I would have approached it and how other people would have approached it, which is kind of fun. Hope you enjoyed this hand and see you next time. Bye!